Hello my friend, it's time for a super important lecture because today we gonna talk about CSS, which stands for Cascade Style Sheets. We'll focus on these two words in this lecture, style sheets. In the second we'll focus on this one. So what is a style sheet? It is a file that describes a style for your entire web page. Okay, and the styles look like, for example, here. So for example, we say, hey, I want every table to make the border collapse. We want to have font size equal to this. We want to have minimum width equal to this. And we also want to have the shadow box behind. Don't worry if you don't understand what does it do exactly, because we'll explain all things like this in future lecture. But for now, I just want to show you that this is a file where you can change how things appear on your website. How do they look inside one single file? And why is that so important? Okay, let's create a few paragraphs, okay? Like for example, this is sample text, and let's copy this text a few times. And now let's say that we have got this text and we want to make the text inside bolded. So how would we do it? Well, we could do something like, for example, this, right? So it takes a few seconds to do such thing. Well, we could speed it up if we use a few shortcuts, like for example this. And I made a mistake during making this, so it's also, as you can see, prone to mistakes. So I will not delete this part of video because I want to show you that this is not a good idea. As you can see, we bolded it, we have a solution. That works fine, right? Okay, so I want to make it italic. And then what I will do, again, I would select all these things. Like this. Okay, and now it's time to what? To change your mind and to say, I don't like it having italic, right? Okay, I can use the Ctrl+Z, but let's say that you reopen this file 2 days later, right? Then you need to remove it. So you will need to delete it like this, or you can use the F1 and then remove the tag. So let's say that, hey, we know some shortcuts that will help us a bit, but the problem is that it's still taking lots of time. So let's just, remove everything from here. Okay, and let's do it like a pro. So how does pro do it? They use CSS. Okay, so let's create a file that we're gonna put the CSS there. So let's remove the folder here because we need to do it from scratch. And well, let's create a folder, right? Why do we create a folder firstly? We create a folder because we might have many style sheets, not only one, right? So let's create a folder that will hold all these style sheets. The same like for images, right? We have got the folder here. We have got only one image here, but hey, maybe we'll have more of them, and it's good to keep your project clear. Okay, so we have got the folder CSS, and inside of it we're gonna create a file that needs to have extension like this, CSS, and you can call it whatever, right? But we're gonna call it style because this is our main style.css file. Okay, of course you can call it whatever you want, but this is something that we are used to as creators. Okay, call it style. And now it's time for magic. It's time to select all these paragraphs. How do we do it? We use something what is called selector. Okay, there are many selectors. In this lecture you will learn the simple selector, which is called selector tag. How does it work? Well, you just type the name of tag that you want to select. Okay, and it's done. And then you create these curly brackets. Why do you create them? Because you want to put here properties that will affect this particular tag. Okay, well, you can have more than one thing selected, right? So maybe later you will want to select the B tag, the table tag, the caption tag, whatever, right? And inside these curly brackets, something that analyzes the CSS, it knows that it needs to apply all the properties that are here to this specific, right? To this specific selector. So this tag in this case. And well, so we selected the paragraph and we want to what? To change the text appearance to make it bolded, for example. So how do we do it? Well, we type the name of the property that we find where we can use Ctrl plus space, and as you can see we can find many properties here. And you might be like now, okay, so I need to memorize all of these things? No, the first thing is that, as you can see, we have got hints here, right? So it would be stupid to remember all these things. It's good to know the basic ones, to know where to look for them, but you don't need to memorize all these things, so don't worry. You will see soon that it is pretty easy to use because, well, imagine for a second how a property could be called if we want to change the font appearance. Guess what? It's called font. So let's type font. And as you can see, there is a family of font changing properties. So when I type dash, as you can see, we have got here font size, which changes the size, right? So this is pretty self-descriptive and this is pretty cool because of that. So let's change font weight. Font weight changes how much ink is inside of font, right? We can type the number here, but we will choose the text like bold here, okay? And it will just make the text bolded. As you can see, nothing has changed. Why is that so? It's because we didn't connect this file to this file. HTML file is what is here, right? The CSS file is in the folder CSS. This file doesn't know about this one, right? It would be stupid if something would connect automatically because, well, maybe you wouldn't want this particular style to be connected to this file, right? So you need to say that you want to link to it. And in order to do it, we use the link tag, which Emmet helps us to do the linking using the CSS, as you can see here. And when I click enter, we have got here what the attribute relation, which says that HTML has got a relation to the file that is specified here as a style sheet. So yeah, the style sheet, right? This is from this name. So this is a file which describes the styles inside a sheet. Okay, so style sheet, and here is the link to where it is. Notice that it still doesn't work. Why is that so? It's because, well, this index.html is in the main catalog, right? And we need to somehow link to this specific location. And we do it the same like when we did with images. So we need to remove it and type CSS, and we need to go into the folder of CSS and choose the style.css. And now look, it's bolded. It's pretty cool. And what is more cool, that we can change many more things here. So font size, like for example, I want to make it 30 pixels. Let's make it big. As you can see, it's big now. And you can change your mind as many times as you want. And you do a change here in one particular file. You might be like, hey, there was only 5 paragraphs. Why would I even care? This was pretty fast anyway. I would needed to create the site CSS for that. Come on, learn a new language for like selectors and, you know, properties. Okay, but we have got here only 5 paragraphs. Imagine that you have got a site that consists of, for example, 500 sub-pages. Will you do it then? I'm sure you will not. That's why style.css is great, because it allows you to change from one singular file all these things. And what's more, notice that this HTML file is so clear now. Before that, we had what? On every tag, we had something like this, right? And when we looked at it, it was hard to focus on what is the text here and what we want to show to others, that we are creating a paragraph here, right? So this describes the appearance of your site. This describes what kind of text is here, right? We say, hey, this is a header, right? Oh, here we have a caption. So we don't have this additional, mess here right now. That's why use style.css. So notice that in order to select something, you need to type the name of the tag you want to find, then you create the curly brackets and then the name of property. There are many names like that, and we'll learn most of the most important one in future lectures, and then the colon, and then we add the space, which is not needed. As you can see, nothing happened bad here, but we add it to make it look better. Of course, you can also, have everything in one line, but this also doesn't look good, right? Try to make your code look good. And then we have got the value for the property, which can be found where? When you use the Ctrl+ space, you have got every value that can be put here, right? Or maybe when you forget something, you can also do what? Font size, and then, we need to type from scratch, font size. As you can see, we can click here, and we can easily read about it. So don't worry, you don't need to memorize all these things. I don't remember everything, so don't worry. Most important one, yes, but not everything. Nobody can do it. Don't worry. I could finish the lecture now, but I think it's a good idea to give you some ideas of how CSS could be used, other than just, changing the appearance in one file. So, what is that? Imagine that you have got a site that looks pretty good, but good for you. There are many users on this site and they use this site frequently, but some of them do not like how it looks like. Maybe they would like to customize how it looks. It's possible, yes. You could allow them to modify the style.css and include just for them the style CSS that they want to include, right? They could make your site look totally different colors. Pretty awesome, right? You should also know that you could change the appearance of your website on the smartphones. When somebody have got a big monitor, you can scratch all elements on the entire monitor and they will look pretty good. But later, when somebody opens your website on smartphone, it will not look good. So sometimes you need to even remove something or change the appearance of it. And you can do it, right? You can specifically say that, hey, this thing will look this way on the smartphone, okay? That's not all. You can even change how your website looks like when somebody is printing it. Yes, you can remove every logo, every image, and just leave the article for printing. When somebody use the shortcut Ctrl+Shift+P, or maybe Ctrl+P, they will see only the text, right? Not every other things like images and so on. Maybe something like specification is not needed, right? So we can remove it just for printing, so somebody doesn't lose his ink. Pretty awesome, right? So to sum up, CSS is something that changes appearance in one file, and you save lots of time, and time is precious, time is money, right? You can control your layout, so how the site looks like, from one file, even if you have hundreds of subsites. And also, it's good to know that your website loads faster, because when the CSS is loaded once, it's gonna be in something that is called cache. It is some kind of memory inside your web browser, inside the user web browser, which holds the CSS. So when somebody jumps from one site to another site, this file doesn't need to reload. It's just in the cache. It's in that memory where the web browser can use it whenever it wants to use it, right? So load once and just use it. That's cool. That's only the lesson. Thank you very much.